Good afternoon, traders. It's about 2:20 on June 10th. This is Daniel, and this is the view from my vantage point. We're going to talk about a couple of things today. Number one, the market reversal. Obviously, with the news coming out of Europe and Germany, the markets here in the U.S. and around the world have changed drastically in one day, from going 4 or 5 days straight down. I guess U.S. sellers decided that was enough and it's time to buy. So the markets have reversed for today. Well, we'll see if that trend is sustained. But first of all, before we get into the details of the charts that you're looking at, because you're looking at a chart for Alliance 1 here on your screen, right in VantagePoint, before I dig into those details, I want to reiterate the importance of looking at the global markets. Why is that important? Well, look at today. If you didn't have information about the global marketplace and how it was influencing the shares that you're trading, you could be in a situation where you're losing money and losing money at a rapid pace. But if you can take the global markets and use the information about the relationships and the patterns that are apparent in the global markets and how they're impacting the stocks that you're trading, you could be a lot more consistent, a lot more profitable just by adding that one element to your trading. And that's what VantagePoint does. VantagePoint gives you the opportunity to look at the markets globally. I'll show you what I mean. We're looking at Alliance 1 International, AOI. If I pull that stock up here in VantagePoint and I do AOI, there it is. In the properties, I'm going to show you exactly the markets that VantagePoint is looking at to determine where AOI is going to go. I do this every single time I talk about VantagePoint. It's like popping the hood on a Ferrari. You know, it's a nice car, it's comfortable, it's exotic, it's fast, but what makes it go? Well, here's what makes VantagePoint go. This is patented technology. There are 25 markets here on this list that influence the price of AOI. When I say influence, they either push the price up or pull it down or make it go sideways. VantagePoint and the use of the neural network technology in VantagePoint has determined what those 25 markets are. The impact, meaning the directional impact on this target market, this stock AOI, and they're all weighted depending on the level of impact. So you can see the 10-year T-note, Briggs & Stratton, you flip through Euro-dollar interest rate, gold, here's a mini Russell, the S&P 500, so the list goes on. You can see the list yourself, but this is really the heart or the engine of VantagePoint, this intermarket analysis, because we know the global markets are influencing each other. Well, here's how we're going to help you use that information to actually forecast the trends, because that's what we're talking about. By doing global market analysis, you can forecast trends 1 to 3 days in advance with up to 86% accuracy. So that's represented in some predictive indicators on the chart. There's a blue line, there's a green line, there's also a predicted high and low on this chart that we're going to break apart, because that's how VantagePoint traders are able to find better opportunities and make money consistently. First of all, that blue line, when it crosses the black line, that's an indication that trend is expected to start going up. And as long as that blue line stays above the black line, you can see that that trend is expected to keep continuing in that direction. That's a forecast of 1 to 3 days of that trend direction. Now, the green line down here at the bottom, when the green line is up in the 1 position, when the green line's up in the 1 position, that's giving you an indication of short-term strength. If it was down here in the 0 position like it is along here, you know, that's weakness. And you need to know, is this trend, even though it's expected to go up, is it confirmed with some strength or not? If it's not confirmed, that may not be an opportunity to jump into. But in this case, back here in March, VantagePoint indicated the trend was going to go up because the blue line crossed above the black line. The neural index confirmed it. That's the step. Step 1, crossover. Step 2, confirm it with the neural index. You have confirmation, you can get into position on this. Now, for those of you stock traders that like to trade smaller accounts or buy 20, 30,000 shares at a time, look at the share price of this. It was about $1 when VantagePoint indicated that this was going to start going up. You buy 10, 20, 30,000 shares of that, and as long as that blue line stays above the black line, you could hold that position until you get the next crossover, and then you take your exit. There's a 40% profit, all right? So if you had a $10,000 investment in that, think about that. Just think about the profits you could have made in that kind of investment. Very quickly, VantagePoint is helping you make money on a consistent basis with information like this. You get out of that position or you short it. You know, that's up to you. Let's say you short it, you pick up a little bit of cash here on the short side, 3 cents per share, and then VantagePoint indicated Alliance 1 is going to start going up again. Now, everything else during this range was going down, if you recall. The indices were down, all the other stocks were down. Alliance 1 was forecasted to go up all the way through that, and as of yesterday closing bell, let's see, there's another 50% profit right there. So here we are, 3 profitable trades in a low share price stock, netting tens of thousands of dollars in profits. Altogether, it's almost 100% profit just since March in this stock. And if you haven't checked Alliance 1, it's up again today. So no matter what, if you have global market analysis, you can be more successful, more profitable. And VantagePoint's going to help you do that. All right, so Whole Foods. I flipped over to Whole Foods. You can see the name across the top of the chart here. I wanted to bring up Whole Foods because I've talked about this several times in previous blogs. If you look at the blog page that you're on and look at some of the previous blogs, you can see this stock as well as some Forex and some futures in there. But looking at Whole Foods, if you follow the forecast in Whole Foods, you can see that's a nice long trend for you guys that like to hold a long time. There's 90 trading days. You know, what's that, 4 or 5 months or so of trading days. 46% profit, $17 per share. And then to the short side, here's another profitable opportunity. All right, 29%, 66 trading days. So altogether, you're talking about $35 per share profit in 2 trades since October. Those are the kinds of trades that many of you are hunting for and looking for and just missing out on. You don't have to do that anymore. With VantagePoint, it's going to present you with those opportunities. It's going to find those crossovers, which are the keys to your success. Now, I said I would talk about some other predictive indicators, the predicted high and predicted low, and how VantagePoint knew that there was going to be some strength in today's market. Let me just zoom in here. We're going to go to just the last couple weeks, all right? So we're still in Whole Foods, as you can see, but I'm only looking at the last couple weeks of information. It's important because you can see the Neural Index popped up to a 1. Last night. So last night, VantagePoint said, hey, tomorrow, expect some strength in this stock. Look at this. This is a floating candle. This is a predicted high and predicted low, and you get it in VantagePoint for every stock we forecast for every single day. VantagePoint actually indicated that the range was going to be higher than yesterday's actual trading range. Another indication of strength today. And if you look at it, you can get in the top left corner, you can get the actual numbers for the predicted high and predicted low. I think at this point, Whole Foods has gone as high as 40, 82 or something like that. Could you imagine getting that kind of information a day in advance at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time the night before? You could prepare for the kind of movement that happened today. You'd be in the know before it actually happened. A lot of traders were scrambling this morning on that news and try to get out of their positions or whatever the case is. VantagePoint indicated that was going to happen, and you could have protected yourself, set an effective stop loss, get out of that position altogether. That's up to you, but VantagePoint right here said last night, expect some strength in WFM. Same thing in Skechers. If I flip over to Skechers, you can see that the blue line crossed above the black line. The Neural Index was at a 1. Very easy to see. This is an incredibly profitable opportunity. Almost 50% profit, $35 a share. Options, guys. I know you're trading options on this. 10 contracts of this and you're up $34,000, give or take. Plus, look at the predicted high and low. Again, the high is higher than the previous day. The low is higher than the previous day. This is indicating, again, a higher range today than yesterday, and that's obviously the case. So no matter what, whether you're talking about a low price stock or you're talking about a longer term trade like Whole Foods or even in Skechers big profits, VantagePoint is going to help bring consistency to your game, and that's exactly what you need.